My online girlfriend was a total babe. Stunning. Classy as hell. Her voice was like silk. Slim waist, legs for days. All day she called me hubby and honey. She knew how to pout and tease me too. It melted my heart. After the New Year holiday, at a family party, I accidentally saw the woman rumored to be the ice queen of the whole city, Port City, chewing out a subordinate. That voice sounded awfully familiar. Could it be my online girlfriend? I froze in my tracks. Help. I just want to run away. My buddy, Kevin, had dragged me to this party. I originally didn't want to go. But he begged and promised there'd be tons of beautiful women. So, I finally agreed to tag along. Kevin didn't disappoint. There were a lot of hotties. Even if compared to my internet girlfriend. They were definitely attractive, if just a little behind her. My buddy and I sat on a couch in the corner of the room, counting up our potential conquests for the night. Suddenly, a commotion erupted on the other side of the room. We looked over. It was Serena Liu. Kevin gasped. Then I got a clear look at her face. It was the famous CEO of Port City, Serena Liu. Serena was gorgeous, captivating. Absolutely beautiful. And richer than God. She used to be the ideal woman for every bachelor and millionaire in Port City. But she always wore this icy expression. Like everyone owed her $1 million. Even though tons of guys chased after her. There had never been a single rumor about her. Some famous actor even tried to drug her, almost succeeding. But he got caught. And his career was completely ruined. After that, everyone stopped focusing on Serena Liu's beauty. And wondered if she even liked men. I turned to Kevin and said, feigning disinterest. Don't even bother looking, Kev. She's out of my league. She's not even as good as my small partner, who last night was teasing me on the phone and calling me hubby. She's really very lovely. She said she had an appointment tonight. Probably out to dinner with clients right now. I suddenly got interested. I pulled out my phone and typed a message, "Miss you." The commotion broke out again from the other side of the hall, causing Kevin to gasp once more. I frowned and asked him what was going on. He looked at me worried. Apparently, one of Serena Liu's subordinates messed something up. She was giving him a serious dressing down. I nodded vaguely. I couldn't care less about it. Right now, I could only think about my small partner. My phone lit up. A message came through. Honey, I'm busy. Can we talk later? I replied immediately, nope. Gotta be now. Okay, then. Reading that message, I smirked, satisfied. Then, I heard a familiar voice from across the room. Honey, I miss you too. My eyebrows shot up. No way. That voice belonged to Serena Liu. She had no expression on her face. She was doing something on her phone. Everyone around her seemed terrified. Right after that, my phone lit up again. I opened it. My online girlfriend sent a 3-second voice message. Maybe it was just a coincidence, I thought. But I didn't dare to bet on it. After turning the volume on my phone all the way down, I put my ear next to it and played the message. Honey, I miss you too. It felt like I'd been punched in the head. But I still hoped it was just a coincidence. I didn't reply to the message. Instead, I turned to look at Serena Liu. Serena looked at her phone for a moment. Then, she put it in her bag. After that, with a cold expression, she continued to berate her subordinate. But why did that voice sound more and more familiar? I unwillingly reopened my phone. I typed a message. Is that you? How much do you miss me? After sending it, I quickly looked up at Serena Liu. Sure enough. Her phone vibrated. Silence. She fiddled with her phone for a moment. Then turned it off. She continued talking. At that moment, My phone lit up again. I can't stand it. I want to be next to you right now. I'm done for. My online girlfriend seemed to be none other than the CEO of Port City, Serena Liu. Serena Liu's voice was still echoing from one side of the hall. Everyone around her was looking at her with strange expressions. A few brave people had started whispering to each other. My buddy Kevin was one of them. Liam. Did you hear that? I hurriedly put my phone away. I pretended to be calm. Hear what? What Serena Liu just said. She seems to have a boyfriend. And she was acting all lovey-dovey with him. I quickly covered his mouth. Shut up. You want people to hear you? My friend realized he was speaking a little too loudly. He quickly lowered his voice. Liam, Serena Liu is actually acting all lovey-dovey with someone? That's crazy. I just nodded vaguely. But my mind was racing. The Serena Liu I knew was an ice-cold girl. Like a noble flower. Didn't have anything to do with me. But she was my online girlfriend. Remembering all the times she called me hubby. And all the unreasonable demands I'd made. My head felt numb. I tugged on my buddy's sleeve. I asked gently. Do you know Serena Liu well? My buddy looked at me with an innocent expression. I want to know. But do I dare to? Did you forget what happened to that actor? My buddy's words were like a bucket of cold water. Dumping on my head. How could I forget? That actor's attempt to drug her had failed. And he'd ended up being blacklisted by the whole social media and exiled abroad. But me. It looked like I had lied to Serena Liu. Even more serious than that actor's poisoning thing. Back then, I'd built up this online persona as a 30-year-old, listed company's big boss. So, I made her call me hubby every day. Plus, I demanded that she act cute and affectionate with me in all sorts of ways. At first, she was embarrassed. But after I trained her, she gradually became bolder. Now, to tell her that the shy and seductive college student in my profile was the famous Port City's CEO Serena Liu. I looked at that cold face again. How could I describe it as shy? Most importantly, I was younger than her. I swallowed hard. I grabbed my buddy's hand. Kevin. Just if someone tricked Serena Liu, what would happen? My buddy looked at me with a sly smile. You guess. I can't guess. Either way, it won't be a good ending. But when I turned to look again, Serena Liu's figure had disappeared. I suddenly felt a wave of anxiety for no reason. I hurriedly asked my buddy where Serena Liu went. My buddy winked and said. Saw her grab her phone and run out. Probably calling her girlfriend. Before he finished speaking, my phone suddenly rang. I frantically hung up. My buddy looked at me suspiciously. Why didn't you answer? I lied without changing my expression. Just a spam call. But before I could hang up, it rang again. I hung up again. Terrified, I quickly said to my buddy. I'm out of here. Then, I ran out. This is exhausting. If I don't run, am I waiting to die? When I got home, I reluctantly turned on my phone. Besides a string of missed calls, there were countless messages. Honey, what are you doing? Honey, why aren't you paying attention to me? Honey, are you mad at me? I didn't mean to reject you. Next time you want something, I'll definitely do it right away. Looking at that series of honey messages, I felt like my brain was about to explode. This student look on my face. How was it suitable for a 30-year-old boss? Why did I build up an image like that? It was completely unrelated to me. I still hoped to open the camera. To look at my face again. Okay, still nothing like a 30-year-old boss. If Serena Liu knew she was tricked by a man younger than her, I'd probably die a horrible death. No way. I can't go down the same road as those online celebrities. While I was hesitating, not knowing how to reply, I suddenly got a call from my mom. Liam. Come home for dinner tonight. Grandpa has an important guest, you have to be here. I answered dully. After hanging up, I looked at the messages on the screen again. Despite being full of thoughts, I went downstairs, pretending not to see them. I'll reply later. What was Serena Lou doing at my house? It turned out that Grandpa's important guest was Serena Lou's grandfather. When Grandpa Lou saw me, he smiled warmly and said to me, Liam, do you remember Grandpa Lou? I used to hold you when you were little. Hearing that familiar opening line, I couldn't help but feel a headache. But I still had to smile politely. Of course. Grandpa Lou, have a good time. I glanced at Serena Lou. She was sitting on the couch, not saying anything, just focusing on her phone. Maybe she noticed my gaze. Grandpa Lou spoke. Serena. Hang out with Liam for a bit. I hurriedly waved my hand. No need. I'm going to see what Mom's doing. After saying that, I hurried off. Because I was in a hurry, I didn't notice. My phone fell to the ground. Damn it, it fell right in front of Serena Lou. I hurriedly bent down to pick it up. But it was too late. Serena Lou had already picked it up. And when she held my phone, the screen lit up. What the hell? My lock screen was a sexy picture of her. Was I going to let her see it? I hurriedly snatched my phone back. I looked at her warily. I'm going to find my mom. After saying that, I quickly ran away. Wait a minute. She suddenly called me back. Can I see your phone? I instinctively covered my pocket. Not really. At this time, the two old men also noticed the commotion. Grandpa Lou narrowed his eyes. What's going on? I hurriedly said loudly. A phone is a very private thing. I don't think it's appropriate. Indeed. Grandpa Lou's expression changed. Serena. Why do you want to see his phone? I don't know if it was my illusion, but I seemed to see her smile slightly. I just feel like Liam's wallpaper is a bit familiar. It seems to be a photo of me. Anyway, it involves image rights. So, it's better to be careful. She said that. And then her gaze shifted towards my grandfather. Grandpa Lou immediately frowned. Well, you really should be careful. Liam. Quickly let her see it. In just a moment. I felt like I was seeing that whiny, jealous online girlfriend. On my phone. But I still kept the phone in my pocket. Not really. I hurriedly made eye contact with Grandpa, but he didn't seem to understand. Still looking at me sternly. Liam. Don't dawdle now that you're a grown man. Quickly give her your phone. Supported by Grandpa. Serena Lou smiled slightly. Slowly approaching me. Pushing me into the corner of the couch. At that moment, I seemed to hear my heart pounding. I had to say. Serena Lou was really a beautiful woman. Even though I had seen countless beauties, I still couldn't help but get the feels. Next, I felt movement in my pocket. Something was being pulled out. I immediately realized. It was my phone. Serena Lou really did not show any restraint. She opened my phone and looked at it for a moment. The corners of her mouth lifted slightly in an inscrutable smile. Do you know this person? My eyebrows twitched slightly. I immediately shook my head. Don't know her. This is a Senior Locke sent me to see a star. He is a fan. She nodded. So. It's your seniors. At this time, Grandpa Lou also spoke. Serena. Is this a photo of you? Serena Lou smiled politely. Not me. Just a friend. Grandpa Lou breathed a sigh of relief. Continued to play chess with Grandpa Lou. Serena Lou took out her phone. Send me contact information. I wanted to refuse. But her eyes looked towards Grandpa. I immediately understood her intention. If I didn't add it, she could ask directly Grandpa to get my information. And Grandpa would know my wallpaper was her picture. At that time I was defeated by her plan again. But luckily, I still had a backup account. I didn't hesitate, and immediately used that account. Add her to WeChat. After adding it, she finally let me go. I hurried into the kitchen. Send a message to my buddy. Ask him out to play tonight. There were a few things I wanted to ask him in more detail. My mood was very complicated right now. Remembering when Serena Lou always called me hubby on WeChat. She also sent me all kinds of collarbone pictures. I just wanted to end what had passed. She's a Hong Kong beauty. Should I say I'm lucky or unlucky? In the end, I fell in love with an online girlfriend. But she was such a big Buddha. At that time, my main WeChat account suddenly received a message from Serena Lou. Honey, I just met someone who was your junior when you were in elementary school at your grandfather's friend's house. What a coincidence. I didn't dare to reply. She sent another message. His wallpaper is a picture of your collarbone. He said you sent it to him. How could you send my picture to other people to see? I felt cold in my heart. She was probably going to come and settle the score with me. Just as I thought that, she sent another message. But he told me. Honey, you said you were pursuing her? In your eyes. Am I a female star? I breathed a slight sigh of relief. But I still didn't know how to reply. Just as I was hesitating. Then my backup account received a message. I opened it. Sure enough, it was still Serena Lou. Can you get in touch with your senior? I have sent a lot of messages to my main account. Then take a screenshot and send it to her. Can't get in touch. She quickly replied to me. Won't he be in any trouble? Actually, he has given me the address. Maybe I'll go find him and try it once. When I saw this sentence, I immediately couldn't sit still. How could I forget this? I had sent an apartment address to her before. If she really came to find me, then my identity would be revealed. If it was revealed, where would I be exiled to? Definitely Africa. Or I would be banned from the whole internet. I immediately switched back to my main account and quickly replied to her. Sorry, I'm on a business trip. Didn't see the messages much. Her message immediately popped up. Honey, you finally replied to me. I thought something had happened to you. I almost went to your house to find you. I breathed a sigh of relief. I'm not home. We'll talk later when I get back. After replying to the message, I put my phone away. That night, when I met my buddy, he was drunk. I sat sadly beside him, holding the wine glass and drinking it in one gulp. He looked at me in surprise. What's wrong, Liam? Are you in a bad mood? I thought about the purpose of this trip. But I didn't dare to directly tell him the truth. So I changed to another way of speaking. Kevin. If you find out that a person you care about a lot has lied to you, what would you do? He asked me back. How much of a lie? Lying about money, lying about looks, or lying about feelings? I thought about the past between me and Serena Lou for a while. She had bought me a lot of small gifts. Although I refused them all, I couldn't stop her from insisting on giving them. So could that be considered lying about money? Every night, the hubby messages. Also couldn't avoid being a lie about looks. In addition, my identity was completely fake. Wasn't she lying about feelings? He looked at me with a complicated expression. Already had an answer in his heart. I nodded sadly. He immediately shook his head. Lying about money, looks, and feelings. If I ran into someone like that, I definitely wouldn't forgive them. I'd make sure they got what they deserved. I'll reverse my name if I don't. That's right. No normal person would choose to forgive. So, if Serena Lou found out my real identity, knew I was deceiving her, then getting blocked, and being banned from the internet, would be a sure thing. Kevin saw I was down. He patted me on the shoulder and comforted me. Why so sad, man? It's just one woman. Not worth it. There are women everywhere. After getting home, I couldn't stop thinking about what Kevin had said. It also strengthened my resolve. No one would forgive being deceived. Serena Lou would definitely be no exception. To protect my glorious future, I absolutely couldn't let my identity be revealed. As I was thinking that, my main account received a few messages. Sure enough, it was Serena Lou again. She sent me a lot of voice messages. I opened them to listen. Every single one of them had her calling me honey and being all lovey-dovey. She said how much she missed me and loved me. But that wasn't enough. She also sent me a bunch of collarbone pictures. The old beauty scheme. How could I resist? But now, looking at those collarbone pictures, I just felt like I was adding more charges to my indictment. I really wanted to ignore them. But I was afraid she would be like last time. Come looking for me in person. If my identity was revealed then, I wouldn't be able to escape. Right now, these messages still had to be answered. I calmed down. I threw away any unwanted thoughts. Calmly typed a line. I remember you didn't like calling me honey before. So, don't force yourself to endure it anymore. She replied immediately. It's okay. As long as you're happy, honey, I'm happy. I replied. Actually, I don't really like it either. The other side was silent for a moment. Just as I thought she had understood, she sent me a video. The content made me want to have a nosebleed. I just saw Serena Lou tucking her hair back. White, slender fingers, with clear bones. Constantly stroking her collarbone. Next to that, I heard her clear voice. Sweet and gentle. Honey. Do you really not like it? Like it very much. I like it to death. But I couldn't indulge too much. I definitely couldn't fall any deeper. At least I had to keep my distance. Minimize the evidence. I resolutely typed a line. I really don't like it much either. Why not do something more meaningful? At this time, the other side was completely silent. I breathed a sigh of relief, closed my phone, and lay down on the bed. But as soon as I closed my eyes, my head was full of the messages and photos that Serena Lou sent me. I hated myself for being bewitched by beauty. Tossing and turning, I still couldn't fall asleep. Right then, my phone rang again. I opened it to see a message from Tiffany. Your senior must be in a bad mood, right? I replied. Why? Then she said directly to me. She was my senior's girlfriend. My senior seemed to be in a bad mood. She asked me to go and find out what was going on. I sent a few messages back and forth between the accounts. Took screenshots and sent them to her. My senior isn't in a bad mood. Just busy. Finally, she stopped asking. I just breathed a sigh of relief. Then my main account received a new notification. She sent me a picture. The background clearly showed the outdoors. So, the reason why she hadn't replied to me for so long was because she went out. I felt both confused and scared. Could it be that she was really coming to find me? I sent a question mark through the message. She replied. Not in a good mood. Going for a walk. When I saw her say that, a feeling of bitterness immediately welled up in my heart. I started to blame myself. Why didn't I make myself stronger? Instead of being such a loser. Reason told me that I couldn't continue to drag this on. Otherwise, I would definitely soften. I felt like I could see a desert waving to me. So, I gritted my teeth and typed a sentence. You're too immature. We're not compatible. Let's just stop here. Actually, I like older women more than you. From now on, don't look for me anymore. I hope you can grow up. After saying that, I didn't wait for her to reply, but quickly dragged her into the blacklist. After dragging her into the blacklist, I continued to live my normal life. Day after day, going between 3 points: school, cafeteria, and dormitory. Occasionally, when I heard a familiar voice, I would remember her. When I saw interesting things, I would also unconsciously want to share them with her. But every time, I would remember that we had broken up. I had dragged her into the blacklist. In fact, during this time, she had also sent me messages through my backup account, asking me if I could help her contact my senior. But I had found enough reasons to refuse. I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes. When I thought that we wouldn't have any contact with each other anymore, then something unexpected happened. I was sitting at Grandpa's house watching TV with him. Suddenly, he received a call. He hurriedly started changing his clothes. I asked him what was going on. He hurriedly didn't have time to explain. Just told me to change too. I was a little dazed but did as I was told. Followed him outside. Until we arrived at the place. I knew what had happened. It turned out that Serena Lou's grandfather had called my grandfather. Serena Lou and her grandfather went to the company. Had a car accident. She was driving, but her parents were traveling. There was no one in the country to take care of her. So Grandpa had called my grandpa. Fortunately, he only had minor scratches. When we arrived, he was healthy and happy, as if he was replaying the scene when the accident happened. Then, he looked at me, with an embarrassed expression. I didn't understand. But I heard him say, "Liam, my granddaughter is in the hospital room next door. There is no one to take care of her. Can you help me bring some fruit to her?" I really wanted to refuse. But looking at his expectant expression, and imagining Serena Lou alone, lonely in the hospital, I felt a little soft-hearted. Maybe it was because of the attitude. Mine had changed a little. Grandpa continued. Serena is a silly girl. She had just broken up. She can't concentrate on anything all day. Today, she heard something on the radio. Lost her concentration while driving. That's why she caused the accident. After saying that, he looked at me, as if there was something implied. Liam, this old man doesn't understand young people's stuff. I'm sure you understand. After hearing what Grandpa said, I felt even more guilty. It turned out that she had an accident because of me. Then let's go. After all, it was because of me. I took the fruit. Did ideological work on myself. When I entered the next room, Serena Lou was sitting quietly on the hospital bed, looking at her phone. Although I couldn't clearly see the screen, but I had a hunch that she was staring at the conversation between me and her. After thinking for a while, I decided that I would try to persuade her. As a junior, I constantly encouraged her, telling her that the senior I mentioned didn't actually hate her. She was a very outstanding person. I bent down, peeled an orange, and handed it to her. She looked at my hand for a while, then said, "This bracelet is beautiful." My back turned cold again. This bracelet was the one that I had shown off to her a long time ago, because I thought it was very beautiful. I pretended to be natural and said, "Thanks. This was given to me by my senior. I also think it's very beautiful." Seeing that she didn't seem to notice anything strange, I breathed a sigh of relief. Thankfully, I passed this level. I felt nervous all afternoon. She kept asking me strange questions. I was always in a state of tension. afraid that I would say the wrong thing. Finally, after having dinner, I could go home. But as soon as I got home, I received a call from Serena Lou's grandfather. Liam. Thank you so much today. That silly girl finally agreed to eat and drink properly. She also said that she liked having you by her side. I knew it, you young people have more to talk about. Can you help me take care of her for another day tomorrow? My grandfather also agreed. Hearing what Grandpa said in a long string, I knew I couldn't refuse. He had arranged everything in advance. But me. Felt suspicious. Why did she say that? She wanted me to be by her side. Could it be that she found out something? Did she want me to get away? Thinking of this, I felt worried. I couldn't sleep all night. The next morning, with dark circles under my eyes, I went to the hospital. She saw the dark circles around my eyes. Smiled meaningfully. Couldn't sleep last night? I looked at her smile. For some reason, I felt a pang of pain. That smile made me feel like I was just a prey being stared at by her. I smiled awkwardly. Not really. Last night I played games until 3 in the morning. She replied. Weren't you watching some female celebrity? I almost spat out my saliva. The 3 words female celebrity were one of the things I didn't want to mention. It was like a blemish in my past. I hurriedly changed the subject. I said. Grandpa told me to cook for you. But I don't know what you like to eat. So, I just made a few general dishes. But this time, I was careless again. When she saw the dishes with the things that she had once said she liked, we looked at each other. She smiled meaningfully again. Thank you, Liam. The food is delicious, I like it very much. Realizing I had been careless. The next day, I deliberately made some dishes that she didn't like. But when I brought it over, I realized that every dish was something that she would never touch. Everything hit her disgusting cells. She definitely knew. So she deliberately made me confused. I tremblingly opened the lunchbox, but she still smiled. And said the same sentence as yesterday. Thank you, Liam. Thank you for your hard work. I like it very much. My mouth twitched as I watched her eat every bite. Biting every bite of celery that she hated the most. My back was getting colder and colder. There was no way she had found out something. But was deliberately pretending in front of me. To watch me panic. And give me a fatal blow. Suddenly, there was a sound at the door. Serena Lou and I both turned our heads to look at the door. It turned out to be my grandfather and Serena Lou's grandfather. I panicked and stood up immediately. But Serena Lou's grandfather just smiled and said a sentence. You guys continue to chat. After saying that, he pulled my grandfather out. When I turned back, Serena Lou's expression was very calm again. Seemingly nothing had affected her. I said worriedly. Do we need to explain to them? She looked at me and smiled a little. Explain what? Why we're not. She smiled again. Looking at me. Explain that we aren't a thing? What thing? We aren't doing anything. Don't you think explaining it like that makes it seem like we're hiding something? I suddenly felt like what she said made a lot of sense. So, I obediently sat back down. But not explaining had its consequences. As soon as I got home, I was bombarded with questions from Grandpa. Liam, what's the deal with you and that Lou girl? I was drenched in cold sweat. Grandpa. There's nothing going on between us. Didn't you tell me to take care of her? I'm exhausted too, you know. But Grandpa looked blank. When did I promise you that? Men and women are different. You're just a kid. How can you take care of her? My head was about to explode. Didn't Grandpa agree already? Then why was Grandpa Lou saying that? Did she find out something? A strong feeling of unease washed over me. I was overthinking. So much that Grandpa had to call me several times to snap me out of it. Are you listening to me, Liam? You have to attend that party tonight. Can't refuse people. I didn't hear clearly what Grandpa was saying. But I knew it was a party. Even if I didn't like that party, at least there would be my buddies there. It wouldn't hurt to go. That evening, I arrived right on time. My buddies were already there. But the first thing one of them asked me almost made me spit blood. What's with the con artist thing from before? Who did you scam? I hurriedly covered his mouth, looking around a circle. Thankfully, no one noticed us. I dragged him to a corner of the party, sat down on the sofa, and then whispered. No one scammed me. Don't talk about this anymore. He glared at me. Why not? You're on a roll, Liam. He suddenly said this. I didn't have time to cover his mouth again. When I reacted, there was already a familiar voice. What, a con artist? Liam is scamming people? My whole body shuddered. I stiffly turned around. I saw Serena Lou smiling at me. I hurriedly suppressed my fear and answered her. No, Tiffany. My friend is just kidding. Serena Lou smiled and nodded. I thought Liam was so talented that he could even scam people. I forced a smile. Tiffany, what's up? Serena Lou looked at me meaningfully. My grandpa and your grandpa are good friends. Calling me Serena Lou seems too distant. Then just call me Tiffany, okay? My buddy was looking at us curiously from the side. I stiffly said the name Tiffany. Serena Lou nodded in satisfaction, and then suddenly switched to a sad expression, saying, After my senior left, I feel like nothing is going well. For a moment, I was stunned. Was she really that into my so-called senior? She definitely nodded. Without him, everything feels lacking. Do you think if I go find him, he might reconsider and get back together with me? I was at a loss, not knowing what to do. About this, I also don't know. My so-called senior definitely has his own thoughts. She said again. Can you help me contact him? I feel like maybe he has something hard to say. I can accept everything. My eyes suddenly narrowed. Her words made me feel like there was something implied. Before I could think, I immediately refused. My senior said last time. He doesn't want me to get involved in your affairs again. What surprised me was that she didn't continue to pester me, but just nodded in understanding. It's true that it's not good to ask you to pass on the message. But right after that, I froze again. She turned to look at my buddy. Because you guys are classmates. Surely your friend knows my so-called senior too. Can you ask your friend to help me contact my senior? My buddy looked dazed. Warning signs were screaming madly in my head. There was no senior. It was all just made up by me. I hadn't had time to plan with my buddy. If Serena Lou said it, everything would be exposed immediately. Serena Lou naturally opened her phone. Searching, and then opened the interface. My personal page on WeChat. My heart suddenly pounded, knowing for sure that I couldn't let my buddy see. Otherwise, I would be in big trouble. So I hurriedly held her hand back before she could put her phone up. I think. Tiffany, you are a sincere person. If you miss this opportunity, it will be a pity. I said seriously. Even I almost believed myself. Serena Lou also smiled. Then thank you in advance, Liam. After saying that, she left happily. Once she left, my buddy immediately stepped forward. What's going on? Explain it clearly. What senior, with what thing? Also, why did that beautiful CEO call you so intimately? I knew I couldn't hide it anymore. So I told him the whole story. My buddy's expression was very interesting. His face changed constantly. Sometimes it went down, sometimes it went up. In the end, he frowned just like me. Liam. So now. What are you planning to do? I immediately objected. Can't say it. I don't want to be the second person she exposed. My buddy sighed. I know Serena Lou isn't simple. If she really wants to mess with someone, then even if we join forces, we can't resist it. Luckily, my buddy had a friend who went to the same school. He was a few years ahead. Now he had gone out to start a business. Opened a small company. This also fit the image of the 30-year-old man I was building. My buddy said that when we needed help, the person was reluctant. He said he was busy making money working. Didn't have time to participate in these online love games. Finally, we had to beg for several days. In the end, he agreed. After graduating, I would go to his company for an internship. So he finally agreed to help me. On the appointed day, me, my buddy, and that friend went to the restaurant that had been reserved. As soon as she saw us, Serena Lou's expression changed from a bright smile to stiff. Me and my buddy looked at each other. The words panic appeared in both of our eyes. He's here. How could there be an outsider involved in this? We immediately stood up, cleverly left, leaving private space for them. Me and my buddy went to the cafe across the street. The location was just right to see their situation inside the restaurant. I hadn't eaten breakfast this morning, my stomach was actually a bit hungry. But when I saw that scene, the feeling of bitterness in my heart was full, making me forget the hunger. The two of them seemed to be a good match. I saw Serena Lou still keeping her smile from the time we left, while that friend had changed from a polite, distant attitude. Gradually became more sincere. His smile became warmer and warmer. As for me, I felt uncomfortable. I no longer had the mood to observe. I lowered my head and stirred the coffee in my hand. My buddy suddenly moved closer to me, whispering, Liam. Are you regretting it? I was stunned. Regretting it? Seeing them chatting so happily, I really felt bitter in my heart. But all of these things weren't caused by anyone else. It was all caused by me. What I regretted was why I got involved in this virtual relationship in the first place. Why did I make up a fake image? Why did I dare to demand so many unreasonable things from Serena Lou? But I didn't have the right to regret it. Otherwise, I would have to face a situation that I didn't dare to imagine. Moreover, Serena Lou seemed very satisfied with that friend. When the appointment ended, my buddy turned around and hugged my shoulder. I was startled. His smile was very confident. You could see that he was very satisfied with Serena Lou. Serena Lou is a rich girl. Are you going to break up with her? Do you know how much resources she has? I shook my head. To me, Serena Lou wasn't the beautiful and noble woman of Hong Kong, but the cute kitten that was on the phone, who used to call me hubby and act cute with me. My buddy patted my shoulder. Or don't break up. I'll help you, I'll take care of this. Me and my buddy looked at him together. He continued to say, such resources, how can I be willing to give up? If you really want to break up, why don't you hand her over to me to deal with? This buddy started to recount the details of their date. But I was still thinking about what he had just said. Serena Lou had met the right kind of 30-year-old man that she liked. And I didn't need to worry about having to go to Africa anymore. Everything seemed to be stable. I decided that on my own. Then what do I need to bother about anymore? Okay then. Leave it to you. My buddy looked at me with a complex expression. He immediately smiled. But just as he was about to look up, he suddenly froze. Tiffany. You haven't left yet? My whole body stiffened, not daring to turn around. From behind came Serena Lou's voice. Who are you planning to hand me over to? Honey. I stood frozen in place. The coffee in my hand suddenly turned into a cactus. The light in the cafe turned into the scorching sun. And the surrounding air smelled like sand, like the desert. My buddy and the other quickly dragged each other away, leaving only me and Serena Lou behind. I still didn't dare to turn around and look at her. She chuckled. Let's go. Let's go somewhere else to talk. I really wanted to run. But I didn't dare. I only knew to lower my head and obediently follow behind her. She led me to another restaurant. Reserved a private room. I looked around, not daring to lift my head. She very skillfully ordered a table full of dishes that I liked. And then asked me if I wanted to add anything. I shook my head. I'm not hungry. Immediately, my stomach growled. It was so embarrassing. The feeling of shame spread to every cell in my body. Why did my stomach betray me at this moment? She chuckled again. I didn't know if it was my illusion. But I felt that in that laugh. There seemed to be a hint of tenderness. Isn't your neck sore? She asked. My body stiffened slightly. She continued to say. How long are you planning to keep this up? I had prepared myself. Psychologically many times. Even though I was about to face the desert. But I couldn't let myself lose face. I don't dare. To. Before I could finish the sentence, Serena Lou gently raised my chin with her hand. Don't dare? Afraid of what? Afraid I'll eat you? I wasn't afraid she would eat me. I was afraid she would take revenge on me. The atmosphere suddenly became stagnant. Fortunately, at this time, the waiter came in. The dishes that we had ordered were all brought up. Just eat. I couldn't say it. Eat and then we'll talk. I thought to myself. This was definitely the last meal before being executed. We sat and ate in a strange silence. When the waiter finished clearing the table, my heart jumped to my throat again. She let her long fingers go, gently tapping on the table rhythmically. Each tap felt like a beat on my heart. Suddenly she spoke. Not planning to explain to me? I immediately stood up. Bowed 90 degrees. Sincerely apologized. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to deceive you. I didn't know that person was you. I also didn't mean to create the image of a 30-year-old man. I was afraid that if I said I was a college student, no one would pay attention to me. My words were messy. The more I spoke, the more confused I became. The tone was very urgent. She seemed a little surprised by my reaction. She stood up, walked over to me. I took a deep breath, just thinking I was about to be slapped. But she just looked up at me. Do I look that scary? I looked up at her a little. Not really. Although I had secretly looked at her many times. But now, when observing this close, her face was really beautiful. Completely in line with the standards in my heart. She also called me hubby. And had that collarbone too. I hurriedly pulled back my wandering thoughts. Carefully asked. You won't take revenge on me, right? She looked at me, her expression full of confusion. Take revenge on you for what? I said softly. Throw me into the desert. Before that, your boyfriend. Everyone said you liked women. I muttered a few rumors about her. She looked at me and smiled. It's just that I live a pure life. So there aren't many rumors. My emotional orientation has always been with men. About that younger boyfriend. I really did throw him into the desert. But it wasn't just simply drugging him. He was sent by the company to steal trade secrets. That kind of person naturally can't be left behind. I was stunned. Then why did you like me? She suddenly blushed. Actually, I don't have much romantic experience. I just felt like I liked you a lot. I was surprised. The famous girl of Hong Kong, the beautiful director. was actually an innocent, pure girl. Then you're not angry at me? I deceived you. She smiled obediently. Actually, I recognized you at the beginning. I had seen your messages through Grandpa many times. Your old man. My grandfather. I was surprised. She looked at me with bright eyes. Grandpa said. You are the person I chose to be my future son-in-law. I was confused. My mind couldn't react. So there was no question of me being exposed. Nor was there a story of online love turning into a real-life meeting. Tiffany from the beginning knew who I was. And she cooperated with me to play my role. She listened to me bragging about the image of a 30-year-old self-reliant and strong man. I couldn't believe it. But she let me call her wife. Why did she like me? She stared into my eyes. I don't have any experience. I only know how to do what I think she likes. Since you like me, I'm willing to do it for you. The sudden loving words made me a little embarrassed. The scene of her eating with her friends suddenly appeared in my head. I couldn't help but ask. Then why did you eat so happily with your friends just now? I thought you really liked the strong 30-year-old type of man. She explained patiently. We were just discussing work. You invited him here but me. It wouldn't be good if I didn't keep a polite attitude. He looked at me nervously. Just like a Tiffany's employee who did something wrong and was being taught a lesson. I stopped talking. She asked again. So can you give me an answer now? I was still dazed. What answer? She became serious. It doesn't matter if you're a 30-year-old man or a college student. I like the real you. Not any role. So can you give me a chance to be publicly together with you? Once again. My head was paralyzed. I have to admit that. When she was serious, she was really beautiful. After the truth was exposed, I felt guilty to the buddy. Therefore, I bought a lot of gifts for him. And personally went to apologize. But I didn't expect my buddy to not care at all. Just waved his hand and said, I only need her resources. I don't care about her person. I couldn't help but laugh. Luckily, I met a buddy like that. It was truly a blessing in disguise. But my buddy wouldn't let us go. In addition to the fact that I promised to go to the company for his internship after graduation, he also asked Tiffany provide more new projects to satisfy. This made me sigh. It was truly a tough guy. The thinking of business people was not the kind of college student like us could understand. After handling my buddy's affairs, I still had to tell Grandpa. Because I had promised him long ago that if I had a lover, he would be the first to know. But when he heard this news, he wasn't surprised at all. Just pursed his lips and muttered. So I lost the bet. Let old Lou win. So everyone knew Tiffany was in contact with me. Only I didn't know. Still foolishly acting in front of her. I not only hated myself for not having courage, but also hated myself for not being smart enough. But now, when I looked at Tiffany wearing gold-rimmed glasses, casually sitting and doing video meeting with company employees, I couldn't help but sigh. Tiffany really was too much my type. I smiled wickedly. She noticed my gaze, looked at me and then turned away. Continued the meeting seriously. But her slightly red ears revealed her mood. The person in front was cold and serious, but was shy behind. The feeling of contrast made me unable to take my eyes off her. Suddenly I felt that I no longer felt empty. Maybe it wasn't a bad thing. After the meeting ended, she gently took off the glasses on her nose. I walked over, sat on her lap. Used my index finger to lift her chin. Like so many times before, I said, "Call me honey." And then I heard the voice I loved the most. "Honey, I like you so much."